Hello, my friends. How are you guys doing? Good afternoon. I believe it is good evening, wherever you are, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending on the continent where you are watching me from. This is a second live program today, July the 15th. All right. This is the second live program today, July the 15th. You are welcome. You are welcome to today's program. Okay. So on today's live broadcast, I will be discussing what is diabetes coma. I believe you guys understand what is coma. Once they say somebody is in coma, I believe you guys understand what is coma. So, and there is something called diabetes coma. When somebody is diabetic and is in coma, so we're going to digest it, discuss about it, the causes of that. What first of all, define what is diabetes coma for you to understand what is diabetes coma if you're diabetic, and then we are going to discuss what are the causes, the symptoms and causes of diabetes coma, how to diagnose it and test it, how to manage it and treat it, and if possible, what is the prevention? How do you prevent diabetes coma? So we're going to discuss all this today in this video. All right. I'm also going to use some illustrations to guide you guys to understand, to make it very easy to understand when you are in coma and you are diabetic. So I'm going to use some illustrations also to guide you, to explain it much better for you to understand what is diabetes coma. Please indicate for me in the comment section where you are watching me from. I would like to know where you guys are watching me from. Please indicate for me where you are watching me from. And as a reminder, if you have not subscribed to my page, please kindly subscribe to my page. If you have not subscribed to my page, kindly subscribe to my page. It is very important you subscribe to my page. If you have not subscribed to my page, subscribe and also comment, share, and then like my page. All right. Do not forget to subscribe to my page. If this is your first time on this page, kindly do so. Thank you very much. All right. As I was saying, I'm going to be discussing. I'm going to be discussing what is coma if you are diabetic. What is coma if you are diabetic? Please indicate for me where you are watching from. All right. So that is what we're going to be discussing today. What is diabetes coma? All right. So now this is my second broadcast for today, and then we are going to remove the banner. Okay. All right. So let me go to. Okay, you're welcome for today's program. So, what is diabetics related coma? So, we're starting now. What is diabetics related coma? Let me use, to make it very simple for you guys, let me use Let me explain, use a illustration to explain what is. Okay, let's, all right, let me use this. Okay, so what you see on the, let me hide this. Okay, to explain. All right, what is diabetics related coma? Diabetes related coma is a life threatening emergency that can affect you if you have diabetes. In a diabetes related coma, you are unconscious and unable to respond to your environment. You are either suffering from high blood glucose, which is hyperglycemia, or low blood glucose, hypoglycemia. You need immediate medical attention if you go to the diabetes related coma. So, friends, that is what is diabetics related coma. Okay, that is what is diabetics related coma. Okay, once again, diabetes related coma is a life threatening emergency that can affect, okay, that can affect you if you have diabetics. Okay, if you have diabetics, Gloria, you are welcome to today's program. You are welcome. I'm discussing what is diabetics coma. Okay, as you can see from what I'm sharing on the screen, I just want to make it very simple for everybody to understand what is diabetics related coma. It is a life threatening emergency that can affect you if you have diabetes, mostly if you have diabetes. Okay, now in a diabetes related coma, you are unconscious and unable to respond to your environment. You are either suffering from, either you have a high blood glucose, that is high blood glucose or high blood sugar, which is hyperglycemia, or you have a low blood glucose, which is hypoglycemia. In either case, you need immediate medical attention if you go into diabetes related coma. So if you're in this situation that you are unable to recognize your environment, okay, you cannot respond, you are unconscious and you're unable to respond to your environment, okay, two things is happening to you is that you are having, either you have too much blood glucose or you have low blood glucose in you. That is what is called diabetes related coma. Okay. So from the screen, what you are reading there is the definition of diabetics related coma. Okay. When you are unconscious and are unable to recognize or to respond to your environment, then two things are happening to you is either your blood sugar is low or your blood sugar is high. So as I said in my previous video, okay, as I said in my previous video, let me stop sharing this. Okay, as I said in my previous video, you must understand the terms of that being diabetics. Diabetics have its own language. If you are a diabetic, we communicate with our own language. When you are in the presence of a doctor or in a hospital, there is a language that you are being communicated with. And if you are not conversant with such language, you are confused. And when you are discussing with a diabetic individual or you are in a community, in a group, people belong to diabetes groups, they communicate in their own language. And if you are not diabetics and you are in that group, you are going to be confused. What are they talking about? Now, if you are having a coma and you are a diabetics, say for instance, you are a caregiver, okay, you are a caregiver, and then the person you are taking care of, either your son, your daughter, or your husband, or your wife, or even your father or your mother, all of a sudden become unconscious. One, he or she is diabetic. That is why you're a caregiver. But all of a sudden, he or she is unconscious or unable to recognize or to respond to the environment. At least with this definition, you should know that he or she is in a coma. And then two things are happening to him or her is either the blood sugar is low or the blood sugar is high. So he or she need an immediate medical attention when he or she goes into diabetic coma. All right. So that is what is called diabetic coma. Let me stop sharing this and then we'll get back to our full screen. So now that you know what is diabetic related coma, okay, okay, what are the symptoms? What are the symptoms of diabetic related coma? Let me, uh, okay. What are the symptoms? What are the symptoms of diabetic related coma? So, what are the symptoms of diabetic related coma? Now we've established, we've defined what is diabetic coma. Okay. Uh, for the benefit of those that are joining me now, I'm going to go back again and explain and define what is diabetic related coma. Okay. For the benefit of those that are joining me now, let's give them one more opportunity and define what is diabetic related coma. So they will understand. Okay, so this is what is diabetic related coma. So I'm sharing it on the screen. Diabetic related coma is a life threatening emergency that can affect you if you have diabetes. In a diabetic related coma, you are unconscious and unable to respond to your environment. You are either suffering from high blood sugar, which is hyperglycemia, or you are suffering from low blood sugar, which is hypoglycemia. In either case, you need an immediate medical attention if you go into diabetic related coma. So if you are a caregiver or you yourself is a diabetic or your child or any of your child is diabetic and all of a sudden they cannot recognize their environment and they are unconscious, then know they need immediate medical attention because two things are either happening. It's either their blood sugar is low, very, very low, and they are going into shock, or their blood sugar is very, very high, out of control. Then you need an immediate medical attention to reverse either of the situation. That is what is called diabetic related coma. So now that you've known the meaning of diabetic related coma, let's discuss what are the causes, what are the symptoms and the causes of diabetic related coma. Okay, so I'm going to stop this sharing this now and then we go. So, what are the causes? What are the symptoms of diabetic related uh, coma? Okay, so let me go back again and share this screen for you guys so that you understand what. Okay, so now we are going to discuss. So now we are going to discuss the symptoms and causes of diabetic related coma. Okay, uh, diabetic related coma is mainly caused by an extremely high or low blood sugar level. And one of these conditions is diabetic related hypersomalia syndrome. It happens in people with type 2 diabetics. Okay. And if you develop this condition, now we are going into, if you develop this condition, we are going into what causes it and the symptoms is going to be what I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Okay. So, what are the causes of diabetic related? So diabetic related coma is mainly caused by an extremely high or low blood sugar level. And one of these conditions is diabetic related hypersomalia syndrome. It happens in people with type 2 diabetics if you develop this condition. Okay. So, so we're going to be discussing, I'm going to share another screen. I'm going to share another screen to discuss okay. All right. So these are the causes. We are still in the continuation of the causes. Okay. So diabetic related coma is mainly caused by an extremely high or low blood sugar level. And one of these conditions is diabetic related hyposomalia syndrome. It happens in people with type 2 diabetics. If you develop this condition, remember, if you develop this condition, this is what is going to happen to you. Okay. If you develop this condition, so if you develop this condition, all right, this is what is going to happen. Your blood sugar could be as high as 600 milligram per deciliter. So if you are having a diabetes, if you are in a diabetes coma, this is what is going to happen to you. Why you are having diabetes coma is because either your blood sugar could be as high as 600 milligram per deciliter. Second is your urine won't contain ketones usually. Okay, so if you are having the causes of those diabetes related coma is one, your blood sugar could be as high as 600 milligram per deciliter. Two, your urine won't contain ketones usually. There is no ketones in your urine. Usually there should be ketones, but if your urine doesn't have ketones, then there's a probability that is what is causing you to go into coma. Number three, your blood will be much thicker than normal. Okay, your blood will be much thicker than normal. Why is your blood much thicker than normal? Is because of the high concentration of sugar, glucose in your blood. So it becomes much thicker. Instead of lighter, it becomes much thicker, okay, than normal. All right. So I'm gonna stop this and we're gonna go into the continuation of, I'm gonna share more. Uh, okay. Than normal. So another condition that could be diabetic related, is the ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis, which is more common in people with type 1 diabetics. Okay, ketoacidosis is more common in people with type 1 diabetics. things to know about this condition. Let's understand what is ketoacidosis and what you should understand with it. It could happen with a blood sugar as low as 250 milligram per deciliter or even lower in some cases. So when your blood sugar is as low as 250 milligram per deciliter or even lower in some cases, uh, that is uh, ketoacidosis that is leading you to go into coma. Second one is your body uses fatty acid instead of glucose for fuel. Okay. Now you understand when your body uses fatty acid instead of glucose for fuel. Remember what I said about glucose. Despite, they say don't allow your glucose to be in excess, to be abnormal, above the normal range. Glucose is the fuel the body needs to meet its daily obligations. Is the energy that your body needs. When you talk, you are using energy to talk. When you are walking, you are using energy to walk. Anything you are doing, you are using energy. And once you are doing things, you are expelling those energy. Even when you are talking, to the extent that you can talk, you become so weak in talking because you've exhausted all the energy that you have. That is the fuel. That is that glucose. All right. That is why they say reduce your carbohydrate. Those carbohydrate is that glucose, is that fuel that your body needs. It's like a car. I've given you guys examples using car. All right. When a car run out of fuel, it doesn't move. It stops until you have to refill it again. That is what is happening to your body. All right. When your body uses fatty acid instead of glucose for fuel, that means when your body run out of fuel, that is, you don't have any more glucose in your body. That is why you are going into coma. You become so weak and go into shock. You cannot recognize your environment and you become unconscious because you have no more glucose in your body. So what does it use? It goes and start eating up your muscles. The fatty acid in the muscles, start eating them up to use it as fuel. It means you are struggling to gain more energy because you don't have any more glucose that can serve you as fuel. So you are not, grabbing whatever your body can grab to keep you alive. That is that fatty acid. So it uses that fatty acid instead of glucose. That is when you are in coma. And that is why I've said it several times. Make sure your blood sugar should not go as low as possible because that can lead you into that shock that goes you into coma. All right. So the third one is ketones develop in your urine and blood streams. Okay. That is one thing we should not allow to have ketones to develop in our urine and bloodstream because it could be painful. That can lead you into surgery. Okay. So these are the other conditions that is diabetes related ketoacidosis that can send you into coma. All right. So you have to guide against all this. Now, I'm going to stop sharing this and bring the window back. So now we are still discussing the symptoms and causes of diabetic related coma. You've known the causes, what causes diabetic coma. Now we are still discussing what are the symptoms and the causes of. So we've just finished discussing the causes. What I just discussed with you are the causes. Now we are going to discuss what are the symptoms. We are going to discuss what are the symptoms of diabetic related coma. I'm going to share this another windscreen with you guys again. Let's discuss. All right. So this is what are the symptoms. What are the symptoms of diabetic related coma? Okay. The following symptoms are your body warning signs that your blood sugar or glucose is too high or too low. That is why you have to understand each symptoms. If you're diabetic, you dine and wine with symptoms. You must understand each symptoms and be able to interpret it. That is how you manage your diabetics. Okay, so you must recognize each symptom that come along At every point in time you develop a symptom, you should be able to analyze it and interpret it and then take the necessary precautions to solve that situation. Okay? So, what are the symptoms of diabetes related coma? The following symptoms of your body warning signs that your body blood sugar is either too high or too low. So, when you have these symptoms, check your blood sugar. If it is too high or too low, treat it according to your healthcare provider's instructions to prevent diabetes related coma. If you have had diabetes for a long time, you may fall into coma without showing any signs or symptoms. Okay? So you must be able to interpret any symptoms that comes along your way if you're diabetic. Because if you've been dealing with diabetes for a longer period of time, you should be able to understand the language. You should be able to understand the language of diabetics. Okay? And once you understand the language of diabetics, then you'll be okay. Okay? So, what are the symptoms? Let's go to the symptoms of diabetics. Let's go to the symptoms of diabetics. Symptoms of diabetic related coma is what I'm going to try to share with you guys now. What are the symptoms of diabetic related coma? Let's go to that one now. Okay, so these are the symptoms. These are the symptoms of hyperglycemia. Remember, I told you guys, medical word for high blood sugar is hyper, and the medical word for low blood sugar is hypo. So when you see anywhere it says hyperglycemia, they know we're talking about high blood sugar. Okay, so these are the symptoms. The following symptoms are your body warning signs that your blood sugar glucose is too high or too low. Whenever you have these symptoms, check your blood sugar. If it is too high or too low, treat it according to your healthcare provider instructions to prevent diabetes-related coma. If you have had diabetes for a longer period of time, you may fall into coma without showing any of the symptoms. Now, some of the symptoms of hyperglycemia, which is high blood sugars, are tiredness. Okay? Tiredness. Some of the symptoms of hyperglycemia is tiredness, abdominal pain, shortness of breath, increased urination, and weak pulse. Okay? And weak pulse are the symptoms of diabetic related. Gloria, Melanie, you are welcome. Okay. And Francie, you are welcome. Melanie says, can you explain about electrolyte drinks and amount to how to drink each day? What you have to understand, okay, sometimes electrolytes serves as And we have another question here. Yeah, Melanie, hold on. I'm going to answer your question. Francie, hold on. I'm going to answer your question. Um, Mike, I'm reading your question here in YouTube, but I can't understand what it's saying. Mike, can you retype? Mike, can you retype that your question? I don't understand it. I can. I still can't understand it. I can't understand. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna let me. Okay, when you send me the correct question, then I'll be able to deal with it. Let me answer Melanie and Francie question. Okay, Melanie, let me answer your question. Now, you're asking me about electrolyte drinks and amount to add to each day. Now, remember, some of these powdered electrolytes, okay, drinks that the market, some of them that the market, they use artificial sweeteners on them, okay. Most of these electrolytes drinks have artificial sweeteners in them, okay, or so them use different kind of like stevia, all kinds of artificial sweeteners on them that are, and they are not organic. Those things are not organic. That's why they call them artificial. But one thing you have to be aware, Melanie, one thing you have to be aware, most of these popular electrolyte drinks have a lot of added sugar in them. They contain a lot of added sugar in them that might spark up your sugar level. So, in essence, okay, in essence, I would advise you, if you're a diabetic or a caregiver, to stay away from electrolyte drinks because the artificial sweeteners in them are not organic and they are loaded with, added sugar. Okay, and that might or may for sure spark up your sugar level. Okay, so I wouldn't advise you on what quantity to take or not to take because I did advise earlier and advise all patients, everybody that comes, avoid anything that has added sugar in them. There is no any amount of, I can say, go and take. Okay, so anything that has an added sugar, processed that have an added sugar, stay away from it as much as you can. Okay, so most of these electrolytes you see in stores, they are not organic. The sweeteners in them are not organic. They are loaded with added sugar. So my advice for you, Melanie, is to stay away from them as much as you can. Instead, if you watch my first video, advise if you really need to, if you watch the first, I did the first video this morning. Watch that first video about uh, food for diabetics. Okay, I did mention about some unsweetened drinks. If you really need to take unsweetened drinks, if apart from water, go for carbonated water, soda water, carbonated water. Those contains no electrolyte. Okay, they are only carbonated. You can drink it as much as you want. They have all 0.0000 calories on them, so it's not going to spike up your sugar level. Those carbonated water, those soda water, they are carbonated. Okay, that cannot have any effect on your sugar level because they don't have any electrolytes in them. They're just carbonated. There's no any artificial sweetness on them, so go for them. Or you can make your own drink. Okay, you can flavor your drink by putting some lemon in them or raspberry in them. Those are good, but those any of this drink that that contains electrolyte, I would suggest Melanie stay away from them because they are not organic. The artificial sweetness in them are not organic, and they are loaded with added sugar in them that is going to spike up your sugar level. Melanie, I hope I've answered your question. Now, Francie, Francie Pito says, can you please help me with diet? I'm from Lesotho. Melanie, I go to my page. I did a video. I have a lot of video on dieting. Even today, this is my second today, this is my second broadcast. I have a lot of video on my page about dieting. Okay. But today, if you go to my page, there is today's broadcast, the one I did in the morning before this one. I discussed about dieting. Watch that video. You're going to learn. You're going to learn a lot of things about dieting on that video. On today's video, this is my second broadcast. I did one in the morning, first broadcast about food for diabetics, type 1 and type 2 diabetics. Go and watch that video. You're going to at least have some view, idea, the kinds of food to buy and the kinds of food to avoid. And if you have any further question, send me a message on my page and I'm going to respond back. All right, Fancy. Thank you for your question. Now, I was discussing about the symptoms of diabetics. Okay. I was discussing about the symptoms of diabetics, and that is what is in the page. And then okay, so I gave you guys the symptoms of diabetes. So there are other symptoms symptoms of diabetes coma. Sorry about that. I'm going to give you guys, there are other symptoms of diabetes coma. I'm going to share that with you guys. Okay, let's go to that one. Okay. So I've given you guys the symptoms of high hyperglycemia, which is high blood glucose, which is tiredness, abdominal pain, shortness of breath, increased urination, weak pulse, drowsiness. And then other symptoms of high blood sugar include walking unsteadily. Okay, when you are walking unsteadily, increased thirst, rapid heart rate, dry mouth, free to smell your breath if your breath smells a lot, and then hunger. So these are some of the symptoms of high blood glucose sugar for those that are experiencing coma in diabetics. Now let's look at the low blood glucose, which is hypoglycemia. Because hyper and hypo, each of the other hyperglycemia, which is high blood sugar, have its own symptoms, and hypoglycemia, which is the low blood sugar, have its own symptoms. So each of them have their own signs and symptoms, and this include weakness and tiredness. When you are having a low blood sugar in your, you have weakness and tiredness, sweating, fast breathing. You're now breathing very fast, shakiness, nervousness, or anxiety, nausea, confusion, and problem. Okay, these are the symptoms of low blood sugar, or sometimes you go into hunger, dizziness, lightheadedness. Okay, these are some of the symptoms of low blood sugar that you should be aware. Now, when your blood sugar is too low, the brain doesn't receive enough fuel. Okay, when your blood sugar is very, very low, that you are about to go into shock and coma, it means your brain is not receiving enough fuel because your heart have to pump the blood to get to the brain. And then remember, there is one essential commodity that is in that blood that your brain needs constantly, which is oxygen. Oxygen is transported to your brain through the blood. And that is why if your body lacks that fuel that is going to help your heart to pump that blood into your brain, then that is why you are getting into coma, and it's going to affect you seriously. So when your blood sugar is too low, the brain doesn't receive enough fuel. What is that fuel? Glucose. And what happened? You know, drinking too much alcohol can cause your sugar level to dip down very low. Okay, that is why you have to avoid alcohol if you're diabetic and your medications. Eating too little can also send your blood sugar low. That is why you have to eat, each meal you are eating must be balanced and healthy and contain some carbohydrate, there's some carbs in it to hold you at least for the next 4 hours before you go for another meal. So you should not starve yourself to death. I received some questions, sending me questions here. Is starving. Starving does not help you to control your sugar level. Rather, you are causing more harm to yourself. Because if you are starving, say you are fasting, okay, because you're diabetic, you are fasting. No, it doesn't solve it. It's the reverse. You are going to get the reverse reaction. You must, eat very well. Eating very well does not mean you have to uh, fill that plate with a lot of starchy food, high carbs. No, if it must be balanced. Once you eat a balanced diet and healthy diet very well, it's going to nourish you and keep you for the next 4 hours before you go for another meal. Okay, so fasting while you're diabetic is not a method of managing diabetes. You are getting the reverse of it because now you are forcing your blood sugar level to go down. All right. Now, exercising too much. As a diabetic, try to make sure your exercise are light. You shouldn't exercise. You shouldn't exercise too much. Okay. Make sure your exercises are light. Okay. Uh, so that it doesn't send your blood sugar low. So you're going to go for lighter exercise, all right? And then taking too much insulin can also cause your blood sugar to go very, very low. So you have to take your insulin according to your doctor's instructions, prescriptions in dealing with your low blood sugar issues. Okay? So that is what is we are getting, that is what is diabetes related coma. Now, what are the risk factors? What are the risk factors of people with diabetes? What are the risk factors? Okay. Before I go on, please, if you have not subscribed to my page, kindly do so. Okay. If you've not subscribed to my page, kindly do so. If this is your first time of visiting my page, please, you are welcome to the community. Subscribe to my page so that anytime there is a new content, you will be notified accordingly. You'll be the first people to be notified. So subscribe to my page, give this page a thumb up if you like the content that you're receiving, and also leave me a comment and share and invite your friends. I like reading your comments and then I'll respond accordingly. All right. So if you've not subscribed to my page, kindly do so. Now, for those that have been asking me, how do you support the page? How can we support your page? If you go to my page, all right, on each of every video, there is an icon like a star. You know how a star is? It's either a star button next to the comment, like, and share button, or underneath it. On each of the video, you see something like a star. Okay, next to the comment section or the like or share video, or underneath those on each of the video, you see something like a star button. That is how you click on that star button. Okay, and it's going to send it to the Facebook page where you can buy star, any amount of star you want to buy, and then send to the page that you want to support. Or if you don't see that star sign, you see next to the comment section or the like or the share button, you see something that says give or support button. You see give or support button. Click on that give or support button. It's going to redirect you to a page where you can buy star and then send to appreciate the page and the content. So I thank you guys in advance for doing so. Now, let's go back to what I'm discussing before. All right. So, um, Now, what are the risk factors of for diabetes related coma? Let's discuss what are the risks if you do not uh, if you did not handle the situation accordingly. Okay, if you do not handle the situation accordingly, what are the risk factors? While anyone who has diabetes is at risk for diabetes related coma, the causes depend on the type of diabetes. Okay, it depends on the type of diabetes. People with type 1 diabetes have a greater chance of going into diabetes related coma as a result of ketoacidosis, ketoacidosis, you know, or hypoglycemia when your blood sugar dip. This is because people with type 1 diabetes always need insulin to boost their sugar level up and have a wider range in their blood glucose level than people with type 2 diabetes. If you're on type 1 diabetes, you are dependent on insulin to boost your sugar level up because all the time you are struggling of maintaining a target range of a sugar level because your sugar level always dip below the normal level. Okay, so the risk factor of any diabetes related coma depend on the type of diabetes. And people with type 1 diabetes have a greater chance of going into diabetes related coma as a result of the hypoglycemia. This is because people with type 1 diabetes always need insulin and have a wider range in their blood glucose level than people with type 2 diabetes. All right. Number two reason, the risk factor of what are the risk factor for diabetes related coma is people with type 2 diabetes have a greater chance of going into diabetes related coma from diabetes related hypoglycemia syndrome. Okay. Hypoglycemia syndrome than from diabetes related hypoglycemia. You all know what is that hypoglycemia syndrome. Okay. Okay. So in type 1 diabetes, they're dealing with ketoacidosis. In type 2 diabetes, they're dealing with hypoglycemia syndrome. Okay, which is um, another form of complication of diabetes. Okay. So the two work on opposite side. The people with type 1 diabetes deal with ketoacidosis, which is low blood sugar. Their people with type 1 diabetes are more prone to have go into coma because they are insulin dependent. They live on insulin to keep their sugar level regulated to be at normal level. Now, people in type 2 diabetes have a greater chance of developing hyperuricemia syndrome. Okay, let me post it on my page so you know what is happening. Hyperuricemia. So I'm going to post it. I don't know how I'm going to post it. Okay, good. I'm going to post it later. So I want to answer your question later. Let me not divert my attention here. So I'm going to define. Uh, Bakate, you are welcome from Botswana. All right. So, what is hyperostomal syndrome? Okay, this says is a condition in which the blood has too much concentration of salt, sugar, okay, which is glucose, and other substances. And what does it do? It drains out all the water that is in your body and organs, okay, including the brain. That is why you start fighting dehydration, okay. And then what is the risk factor? Include you have a stressful event such as infection, heart attack, stroke, or recent surgery. So you wouldn't like to have hyperostomal syndrome. Remember, in type 1 diabetics, all they are dealing with is ketoacidosis or hypoglycemia. Okay, these are the risk factors because the type 1 diabetes, they are insulin dependent. Okay, they depend on insulin to raise their sugar level up. Now, the risk factor for diabetes, what are the risk factor of diabetes, coma, is it depends on the type of diabetes you have. Those are that have type 1 diabetes, okay, have a greater chance, they stand a greater chance of having going into diabetes, coma, because uh, of the ketoacidosis that is in them, and one, they depend on insulin to boost their sugar level up. Now, people with type 2 diabetes have a greater chance of going into the same coma, okay, due to the related complication of hyperostomal syndrome. Hyperostomal syndrome is a situation, is a condition whereby you have too much high concentration of salt, glucose, and other substances in your body and organs. And what does it do? In the combination of high concentration of salt and sugar and other substances in your body, what does it do? It drains all the water that is in your body and organs, and including your brain. And that is when you go into dehydration. And what is the risk factor of it is that it sends you into shock, heart attack, or okay, or even stroke. And that is why I keep emphasizing all the time. Make sure your sugar level do not dip so low that you're going to go into shock. Because the possibility of you coming out alive remains thin. And that is why you have to check your sugar level constantly at all times and be able to interpret the readings to know when your sugar level is too low or too high, and then take the relevant action to boost your sugar level up or to boost or bring down your sugar level to a targeted range. Okay, so those are the risk factors. Let's look at other risk factors that can lead a diabetes to go into coma. Okay, include surgery. Okay, surgery, if you have recent surgery and you're diabetic, yes, it can lead you into diabetes coma. Trauma, you have a trauma, illness, insulin delivering problem, poor diabetics management, drinking alcohol, skipping doses of insulin, and using illegal substances. So these are some of the other risks that can lead you into diabetes coma. If you have surgery, if you have trauma, if you have illness, insulin delivery problem, you are not your insulin delivery is so poor, it is not responding. It's either your insulin sensitivity is not sensitive to your body, you are rejecting it. Poor diabetics management, you are not taking the doctor's instruction, doing what they ask you to do, and avoid those things they ask you not to do. So your management of diabetes is very, very poor. Drinking alcohol when they ask you to stop or refrain from taking alcohol while you're diabetic or in any medications. Okay, skipping doses of insulin. You take one insulin now, and the next 2 days, or next maybe in the next 1 week, you've not taken another insulin. Those can contribute your situation, the risk factor for you going into diabetes coma. Remember, diabetes coma can occur in either two situations: either when your sugar level is too high, or your sugar level is too low. So skipping your doses of insulin might fall into one of these categories that might send you into coma. Then using illegal substances, these are some of other risks that can lead you into diabetes coma. All right. So, what are the complications? What are the complications of diabetics? I'm going to write something here now and post it. Yes, I want to write something and share with you guys. I want to post something and share with you guys. Makes my job easy for you guys. Okay. So, so these are the complications of diabetic related coma. Okay. Uh, Complication of diabetic related coma includes, but not limited to, permanent brain damage and sudden death. So you guys have to be very, very careful in making sure that your sugar level does not spike up too high or too low. So that is going to cause you guys a very, very dangerous damage. Okay? So that is the complication of diabetes related coma, include but not limited to permanent brain damage and sudden death. Now, when is it necessary to call a doctor if you have diabetes? Okay, I've said it. With in the beginning of my program, I said, let me go back a little bit, and then I shared. Okay, the question is, when is it? When is it necessary to call a doctor if you have diabetes coma? Okay, and if you understand from the definition of diabetes coma, what I said in the earlier on, when we discussed what is diabetes coma, okay, I'm trying to bring it up here. Okay, so if you're a caregiver, because the question now is, when do you see a doctor or when do you require a medical attention if you are in a coma and you are diabetic? It is very simple. If you followed the progress from the beginning, and I said I'm going to use the beginning to answer that question so that you guys can understand it very well where I'm coming from. Diabetic related coma is mainly caused by extremely high or low blood sugar level. So what is only on two circumstances or two situations that you can be in coma if you're diabetic is either if your sugar level is too low or very, very high. Okay. Now, one of these conditions is diabetic-related hyperoxaluria, and I've explained to you guys what is hyperoxaluria syndrome. Hyperoxaluria syndrome, okay, hyperoxaluria syndrome is a condition, okay, when your body has too much high concentration of salt, glucose, and other substances. And what does it do? It goes and drains and mop up all the fluid, all the water that is in your body. It drains them out, including the water that is in your brain. And once it drains them out, that's when you go into dehydration. And because there is no more fluid in your body, you are weak. Okay? It sends you into shock. And when it sends you into shock, you can have an infection, you can have heart attack, you can have stroke, okay, or even death. Because now you are having hyperoxaluria syndrome. All the fluid in your body is being drained out because you have too much high concentration of salt, glucose, and other substances in your body. All right. So one of these conditions is diabetes-related hyperoxaluria syndrome. It happens in people with type 2 diabetes. Okay. If you develop this condition, okay, Now, to answer that question, when do you see a doctor? You see a doctor if you develop this condition. Your blood sugar could be as high as 600 milligram per deciliter, which is very, 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 very high when your reading is 600 milligram per deciliter. Or your urine won't contain ketones usually. Remember, some urine contains ketones, but now your urine does not contain ketones anymore. Okay? And number three, your blood will be much thicker than normal. What happens when your blood is much thicker than normal? There's no your blood cannot flow easily to the brain to take oxygen to your brain anymore. Because now, why is it that your blood is too thicker than normal? Because you have high concentration of sugar in your blood. Now it thickens your blood. It cannot flow properly, and then your heart is now working extra hard to push the blood to get to your brain because you have too much sugar in your blood and it becomes so thick. Okay, so another situation when to see a doctor that may be related to type 1 diabetes is if you have this condition, like the one I mentioned is for type 2 diabetes. Okay, now if you on remember you go into diabetes coma if your blood sugar is too low or too high. Now the condition I mentioned when your blood sugar is high is 600 milligram is when your blood sugar is too high. Your urine won't contain ketones usually, and then your blood is much thicker than normal. Now you can see a doctor. For any person that have the sugar level is 600 milligram per deciliter is at the point of death. It is too high. Yes, you can go and see a doctor. Or your blood is much thicker than normal. Then that's when you have to see a doctor immediately. Or your urine won't contain ketones that usually contain, then that is when you see a doctor. Now, another condition, and this one is peculiar for people with type 1 diabetes. And what happens to people with type 1 diabetes is that their blood sugar always dip below the normal level. And then if you have this condition and you are type 1 diabetes, then this is when you have to go and see immediate medical attention from your doctor. It could happen when your blood sugar is as low as 250 milligram per deciliter or even lower than that number. So when your blood sugar is about 250 milligram per deciliter or lower than that number, and you are type 1 diabetes and you are in a diabetes coma, that is one for you to go and seek immediate attention, medical attention. Okay. Number two, your body uses fatty acids instead of glucose for fuel. And I've explained to you guys when your body uses fatty acid for fuel instead of glucose. Because remember, you are weak. You can't recognize your environment anymore. You are unconscious because you are at the point of death. You are weak because your sugar level is drained out. That glucose is the energy that we use every day to propel us to do a lot of things. And that is why they say you have to nourish your sugar level. If you're diabetic, make sure every 4 hours you have to make sure you eat. You have to eat very well and healthy to make sure your sugar levels stay at the target range. When you allow it, you are fasting. You say you are fasting, and then you fast to an extent that your blood sugar have drained out. You don't even have any blood sugar in your body. What happens? Your body goes and start eating itself. Your body goes and starts scamping from your muscles, whatever it can find. Okay, eating up your muscles in order to sustain you to keep you alive. That is what it means. Your body uses fatty acid instead of glucose for fuel. Okay, let me answer this question. Okay, so that is when your body uses fatty acid instead of glucose, instead of glucose as well. And from what I said about you guys, fatty acid are the building blocks of the fat in our body. Let me give you guys the definition. And in the food we eat, they are the building block of the fat in our body in the food we eat. During digestion, the body breaks down fat into fatty acid, which can then be absorbed into the blood. Okay? Fatty acid molecules are usually joined together in groups of three, forming a molecule called triglyceride. And we all know the function of triglyceride in our cholesterol, bad cholesterol, LDL, in the formation of LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. Okay? So now, when your body uses fatty acid instead of glucose for fuel, or lastly, the ketones develop in your urine and bloodstream, then you have to see a medical attention. Okay? You have to see a medical attention. Okay? So that is when to see a doctor to answer that question. Okay? To answer that question, when is it necessary to call a doctor if you have, you know? So now let's go into the treatment. How is diabetic coma treated? How do you treat diabetic coma? How do you treat diabetic coma? Okay. If you go into diabetic coma, you need treatment immediately. That is for sure. You need treatment immediately if you go into diabetic coma. You need treatment immediately. It is not something to play about it. Okay. If you go into diabetic coma, you need treatment immediately. You are at a risk of brain damage or death if there is any delay in responding. If your blood sugar is too high, you will receive intravenous fluid. Okay, we are talking about how to treat diabetic related coma. Once you are in that state, you need the difference between you being alive and dead is seeking immediate medical attention. Otherwise, your brain is going to damage forever, permanently, or death. Any of these two things is going to happen. That is a complication of diabetic related coma. As you can see on the screen, these two things are going to happen. Okay, so if you're a caregiver or you are a diabetic, you have to watch out for this. When somebody you are taking care of suddenly go into coma, they can't recognize their environment or they're unconscious. You need medical attention. Rush that person to the hospital for medical attention. Do not waste any time. Some people die, some people pass away without even noticing that they are into diabetes coma because it gives them no warning sign, no symptoms, and all of a sudden they slump and die. Okay, there are some especially there are some people that are diabetic for a year, 2 years, they don't even know they are diabetes. All of a sudden they collapse and die. Okay, or they know, but they keep playing pranks about it, try to avoid it. But that is not the answer. Once you know that you are diabetics, that is the day you have to take precautions to save your life. It is not something to play with, to ignore, to put it aside. It is not a choice. It is a must. You take control of it. All right. So when you are a caregiver, you are treating somebody with diabetics, okay, or you are a diabetics, and then you know from today there's something we call diabetic related coma. Okay, the person all of a sudden is unconscious and again cannot respond to the environment. That is, he cannot recognize the environment. Know that person is in coma, and what he or she need at particular time is to be rushed to any medical facility for medical attention. Because if you do not rush that person, any delay in getting medical treatment can result in permanent brain damage or death. That is the complication of diabetes-related coma. Okay, so if your blood sugar is too high, for instance, you are in coma and then they rush you to the hospital and they find out that your blood sugar is too high, you receive We're talking about the treatment now, intravenous fluid to bring down the sugar, to bring down your sugar level. Okay. Two, supplement of phosphate, sodium, and potassium. They'll give you a supplement of phosphate, sodium, and potassium to bring down the sugar level. Or three, insulin to bring down the sugar level. Okay? That is if your sugar level is very, very high. That is the treat. That is how it's being treated. First of all, they will start an intravenous fluid to control the sugar level to bring it down to normal, or they use supplement of phosphate, sodium, and potassium to bring it down, or they use insulin to bring it down. Now, if your blood sugar is too low, if your blood sugar is too low, okay, glycogen, a hormone to increase blood sugar level, they use glycogen. Okay, they'll use glycogen, a hormone to increase the blood sugar. They use a glycogen to boost up your sugar level up, or they use an intravenous fluid again to boost your sugar level up, or 50% of dextrose solutions, or they use 50% of dextrose solutions to boost your sugar level up. So these are the way it's been treated. But once you notice that person is in coma, do not waste time in helping that person seek medical attention, because otherwise, any time delayed will be fatal, serious fatal in that family. Okay, so those are how it is being treated. Can we go to the prevention? How can you prevent diabetes related coma? Let's talk how you can prevent diabetes related coma. Okay. How do we treat diabetes related coma? How do we prevent it? I'm trying to see if I can share this information with you guys. How do we prevent diabetes related coma? Zubida, you are welcome. You are welcome, Zubida. You are welcome. So, how do we treat? How do we prevent? How do we prevent uh, diabetes related coma? How can you prevent it? Okay, let's see how we can prevent it. Okay, you can help yourself prevent diabetes coma by taking steps to keep your blood sugar in the target range. That is one fact. That is one fact. Anything that has to do with diabetes, solving the problem you have is if you can control your sugar level at the target range all the time, then you are avoiding other complications that will come in. Once you are constantly maintaining a normal glucose range, you are keeping away other complications away from your illness. That is what you are now managing your sugar level well. Okay, then some of these complications will stay away. It is only when you are not controlling your sugar level that you are inviting other complications to come in and mess up your health system again. So you can help yourself by prevent diabetes coma is by taking steps to keep your blood sugar in the target range. Okay. Okay. You have to eat the required food, eat a healthy, balanced food. Make sure you engage in physical activities, exercise. All right. You must engage in physical activities, reduce your weight, and eat well. Okay. Now, it's also important for your family, friends, and co-workers to understand how to help you if you are in health. So if you're diabetics, either type 1 or type 2 diabetics, let your workplace know your situation. If you're in school, let your teacher, let your school know your situation. So that in case of any emergency, they know already how to solve your problem. If you are at workplace, let your health and safety department know that you are diabetics. And usually you only have this problem so that when this thing occur, They will be there to help you to save your life. The same thing in school. If you're a caregiver and you have a child that is diabetic, you must let the school know. There are some schools that they have the amenities for diabetic children. So make sure you enroll your children in school that are well equipped to handle diabetic individuals. Not all schools have those equipment. So once you are in that school, let your school know that my child is diabetic and this, and that. So they know that in terms of emergency, they know what to do. Okay? So it's also important to let your friends and family and co-workers to understand how to help you if you are in need of help. All right? Let them know about the symptoms of high and low blood sugar. Let the school know, let your co-workers know what are the symptoms of low or high blood sugar so they all know. So that in case if you pass out, they should be able to know how to give you a help immediately. All right? In terms of food and drinks, here are some tips for preventing diabetes related. Okay. These are some tips in terms of food and drinks. Learn about food that affect your blood sugar and then the best meal plan for you. That's what I've been preaching all along. Diabetics have language. Okay. In diabetics has language. You must learn the language and know how to interpret the language. Okay. So in terms of food and drinks, here are some of the tips to prevent diabetes coma. One, learn about food that affect your blood sugar and then the best meal for you. So you must differentiate. You must know those food that affect your blood sugar and then stay away from those food and then know the food that your body that is good for you health-wise. Okay, you must also say if you're diabetic, you must be equipped with the basics. You must know the in and out. That is the way you manage and live with diabetes. Once you know the kinds of food to eat and the kinds of food not to eat, at least you are getting there. Okay, so you must learn about the food that affect your blood sugar and then the best meal plan for you. Then two, don't skip meals. If you're diabetic, please don't skip meals. Those that say they are fasting gives you the opposite reaction. It doesn't give you the end result of what you're looking for. As a diabetic, you must eat healthy, eat well, and eat very well. Filled up. If you eat a healthy, balanced diet, it's going to keep you at least minimum 4 hours. Before you go for another meal, 4 hours, another meal, 4 hours. You must eat well. Nothing like fasting. Fasting does not help you in managing your diabetes. It gives you the reverse effect because now your sugar level will be depleting and then you'll be losing some energy, you'll be getting weak, okay? Because your sugar level is dipping. Okay? So number three, keep treatment for a low blood sugar with you at time. Okay? So anywhere you are, if you are traveling, if you are going to be spending a night somewhere, make sure you have your treatment. Everything that you to treat your blood sugar. It's either you have a type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Make sure if you are leaving home, okay, have a set of your medications, your testing strips in your car. Have a small bag, let them and some of your medication in your car. For instance, I personally, in my car, all the 3 cars, okay, they all have a bag of diabetes medications. Okay, they have my diabetic medications for at least 2 weeks. They have my testing strips. Everything I need for my diabetics, I have them in the car. I have my diabetics drinks. I have my water. At least I have about 12 bottles of water in each of the car. All right. So they stay there permanently. So if I'm driving out, you never know, I might not come back home that night, or I'm going to be sleeping out. I have my medication in my car. So if anything happens, I have everything there. So if you are going to be sleeping out, or if you are going to be traveling for a week or a month, make sure you have your treatment for your low or high blood sugar with you at all times. At work, make sure you have your medication with you at work. Okay? This is how to prevent it. So when your sugar level is too high, you know what to do. And when your sugar level is too low, you know what to do. Now, number four, avoid drinking too much alcohol. I've told you guys, alcohol and diabetes does not go hand in hand or in any medications. If you are under medications, alcohol and medication doesn't work hand in hand. Alcohol is going to mess up your medication, your treatment, your diabetes. You're not going to respond to treatment effectively. So what alcohol does, what is going to force your sugar level, your blood sugar to go, to deep down, low below the line. So that is why you have to stay away from taking alcohol at all times if you're diabetic. Now, last one, ask your doctor to prescribe a glycogen kit. Glycogen kits. This is your sugar level boost. Okay, there's something they call glycogen kit. This is more or less people with type 1 diabetics. So most of the time, if you go into a coma, they use glycogen to boost up your sugar level up. So ask your doctor to prescribe you a glycogen kit. Doctors use it for people with type 1 diabetics when they are running out of glucose, their glucose is too low and they rush them to hospital. They can use glycogen to boost up their sugar level up. Okay? Is there anything I'm missing here? Okay, so glycogen is mainly used for people with type 1 diabetes that have their sugar level too low. So, what are my recommendations? I didn't have any question. Yeah, you guys feel free to ask me any question, please. If you have any question, feel free to ask me any question. Okay, feel free to ask me any question. All right. What are my recommendations to help manage your blood glucose level? One, check and record your blood sugar levels at all times. I've said it to you guys. You must record your blood sugar level. Have a booklet for it. You must have a booklet for your sugar level readings at least for 2 weeks. So even if anytime you are leaving home, okay, make sure you have that your recordings with you because in case of emergency, you are rushed to the hospital. All right, that book can give the doctors a guidance to your glucose levels and know how to render medical assistance to you. So check and record your blood sugar levels at the times recommended by your healthcare providers. Follow instructions of proper dosage and timing of your medications and insulin. Okay, you must make sure you are taking your insulin, taking your medication at a particular set in time, being advised to you by your doctor. If you are taking your first medication 7 in the morning, make sure every day 7 in the morning you take your first medication. And if you're taking your last medication before bed, make sure you must take that medication before bed. Do not take it earlier. Okay. Sometimes if you skip one drug in the morning, steady just for one day, it's not going to affect you. You're going to be okay. But make sure you follow doctor's instruction on proper dosage and timing of your medication and insulin. Now, the third one, learn how different type of exercise affect your blood sugar level. Excessive exercise can cause your blood sugar level to dip very fast. That is why you have to engage in a lighter exercise. Lighter, very light exercise is good for type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes. And excessive exercise can force your blood sugar level to go down. All right, so you have to learn different type of exercise that can affect your blood sugar. Number four, check your urine for ketones. When blood sugar levels are high, okay, when your blood sugar levels are high, make sure that's when you can find ketones. So check your urine for ketones when your blood sugar levels are high. If your blood sugar levels are high and you have ketones, it's very painful in terms of urination, or sometimes your urine is not going to come out in time. So make sure you check your urine for ketones when your blood sugar levels are high. And then lastly, ask your healthcare provider when you and how should you test for ketones. Your doctor is going to send you for a blood work and they will check your ketones. Learn how to manage stress. is very important. You learn how to manage stress, but stress can also contribute to worsen your management of your diabetes. So learn how to manage stress. Okay. The last one is consider using a continuous glucose monitor that sends an alert if sugar levels are too low or too high. Yeah, these days, we are used to picking our fingers to measure our sugar levels. We pick our finger, we put the blood in the last place to know our sugar level. But these days, we have the electronic type one now that you don't need to pick your finger. All you have to do was put it in any part of your body. Either I see people putting it in their shoulder here, in their shoulder here, in their stomach. You just attach it to your body. It automatically sends you alerts to your phone, depending on your setting. It send you, if you want to check your blood sugar level, you only take your phone and bring your phone closer because you have paired it with your phone. So your phone is going to, and then you look at your phone, it's going to tell you your current sugar level. Now, if your sugar level is too low, it's going to send you an alert to your phone to say, look, your sugar level is too low, do something about it. And if your sugar level is too high, it's going to send you an alert to remind you your sugar level is too high, do something about it. Okay, so you have to continue, consider using those continuous glucose monitor. All right, and then wear medical identification. I've said it before. Wear medical identification around your wrists, around your wrist hand here, around your neck, or bracelets to alert first responders that you have diabetes. So use bracelets, or medical identification you can wear in your neck, and it's visible to others so that when you have any emergency or you collapse or you faint, and then they send an emergency ambulance came or somebody come to render you help, as soon as they see that bracelet in your hands or your necklace, and they say you are diabetic, is that give them a clue that you are diabetic, and they know what to do. Even someone that doesn't even know what to do. Okay, she's diabetic, she has collapsed. They'll look for something that contains sugar to give you boost your energy level a little bit up. So we are medical identification necklace or bracelets to alert first responder that you are diabetic. So in terms of emergency, they know how to respond and help you out. Okay, let's uh, Alex, welcome to today's program. Welcome to today's program. So those are how you can prevent. Those are how you can prevent diabetes related coma. Okay, so I've given you guys everything that you need to know about diabetes related coma. Once more again, I'm gonna go back and share this again. So this is what is diabetes related. This is the definition of diabetes when somebody's in diabetes coma. So that this is what it means. Okay. So if you go through it, you'll be able to understand what is diabetes coma. That is what it means by diabetes related coma. Now, in my first video, this morning, or this is my second video for today. In my first video, I said stay away from processed orange juice. Those orange juice you buy in the store are already processed. They have added sugar in them. So you have to stay away from them. But if you have to take orange juice, for instance, you have to take, and I say I'm going to show you guys the quantity to take if you have to take orange juice. This is my empty glass here. Okay. This is my empty glass here. All right. So I'm going to show you guys, and this is my orange in my left hand side here. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys the quantity to take if you have to take orange. You don't need to finish. You don't need to finish this. No. See the quantity of orange you have to take. I don't know if you guys can see it properly. You see the quantity. You see the quantity you have to take there. This is the glass. You see, this is the glass from here down there. Okay. So if you have to take orange, this quantity is okay. It's not going to make. It's not going to worsen your situation. It's not going to spark up your sugar. One thing you cannot do. One thing you cannot do. You cannot fill up this cup. You can't take a whole cup of orange. This cup, no. This quantity is enough. If you have to take orange juice, and that is it. That is it for the next 5 hours or so. Okay. This quantity, you cannot take a full glass of orange. As I say, I did promise I'm going to show you guys in my second live broadcast. Because somebody asked me what is the quantity to take. So that is why I said, okay, I'm going to do the live broadcast again and then show you guys the quantity you have to take. All right. So if anybody has any question, feel free to ask me any question before I call it a day. At least today I've been able to squeeze in 2 live programs with you guys back to back. All right. So if you guys, anybody has any question, feel free to ask me question. Okay. As I said, this is the quantity of the orange. This is the quantity you have to take. So I'm open to questions. If anybody has questions, feel free to ask me the questions before I close for the day. And please do not forget, I'm going to take some now. Do not forget to subscribe to my page. Please do not forget to subscribe to my page. Like and comment and share. Also, if this is your first time, do not forget to like and share my page. Okay. I have 2 pages on Facebook. The other one is Living with Diabetics. There are videos on that area posted. If you've not subscribed, if you are in if you are in Managing Diabetics TV and you are not on Living with Diabetics, do yourself a favor to go and subscribe to the page, Living with Diabetics. Okay. If you're already on Managing with Diabetes, that's fine. But try as much as you can to subscribe to my other page, Living with Diabetes. If you go to my page, I posted a link there. You see a picture says Living with Diabetes. Okay. Then you can go to the page there and subscribe so that anytime I have a content in there, you'll be notified. And once more again, for those that have been asking me how to send star or how to support, on each, if you go to my page, okay, if you go to my page, on each of the video, every video I have on my page, there is a star icon. You see how star, you can know what star is. There's an icon like a button, a star. You click on that star or icon, it's going to redirect you to another page where you have to buy any amount of star you want to buy star and then send to my page. All right, that is how to buy a star. Or on every video that is in my page, if you don't see that star sign, okay, you will see something. That star sign is next to, that star icon is next to comment. On each video, you see like, share, and comment. So the star icon sign button is next to the comment section, comment, or in between comment and like, or comment and share, or sometimes it's going to be under it. Just click on that star icon. It's going to direct you to the new to the page where you can buy star. Alternatively, if you don't see the star icon, star button or icon sign to click on, you see next to comment section or like or share, or underneath the comment section, on each of any video on my page, you see something says give or thanks, give or support. Sorry, give or support on each of the video. Just click on that button, give or support. It's now going to direct you to the new page where you have to buy star and send. So, all right, I do thank you guys in advance. For those that have sent me some star, for those that have sent me some star, I thank you guys very much for supporting my page. I thank you guys very much for those that have been sending me stars. I thank you guys very, very much. Olubumi says, does diabetic causes chest pain and fast breathing? Yes. Olubumi, if you have followed me from the beginning of today's program, yes, you are going to see that I've discussed about it. Yes, I've discussed. If you follow today's program, okay, you see that I've discussed about it already. But I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer your question. Okay, I'm going to answer it. That's not a problem. I'm going to answer it. Just give me a time. Let me answer this guy. Olubi, I'm going to answer your question. Let me answer this guy's question, please. Six. Olubimi says, I'm going to share this. All right, Olubimi, to answer your question, okay? You says, does diabetes causes chest pain and fast breathing? If you look at what I posted, if you look at the video now, what I'm sharing with you, you see that yes. Okay, that answers your question. Why you are having fast breathing or chest pain? Now, in which the chest pain? Where are you having the chest pain first? Olubimi, can you tell me where you're having the chest pain? So to answer your question, okay, to answer your question, I'm coming to that, and I'm coming to answer your question. You see, I shared something on the screen for you, Olubimi, why you are having a fast breathing. If you look at the symptoms of low blood sugar, when you're having high hypoglycemia, when you are having a low blood, when your sugar level is too low, these are the signs and symptoms. You have weakness and tiredness, sweating, fast breathing. So if you are having fast breathing, that means your sugar level is low. Check your sugar level to know the reading. Okay, so what you have to do was to boost your sugar level up. Now, that answers your question for fasting. Now, Olubumi, if you have been following me right from the time, I know I know you've been following me, but I've done series of video about chest pain. So I've done series of video about chest pain, and I said in one of my video, I said two things, and let me repeat it again. Anytime you are having shortness of breath, you are losing breath, you cannot breathe properly. I said it in one of my videos, and I've said it several times. Anytime you are having shortness of breath, you are losing breath. Anywhere you are, whatever you are doing, leave whatever you are doing and rush yourself to the nearest hospital. That is the difference between you alive and death. Anytime you are losing breath, you are having shortness of breath, it's not something to play with. Leave whatever you are doing and head to the nearest hospital to check why you are losing oxygen. Remember, oxygen is transported through the bloodstream to your brain. And if your brain is not getting oxygen, you are getting closer to your death. I said it. So if you are having shortness of breath, anything you are doing, you are having shortness of breath, you can see that you can't breathe properly, your chest are getting tight, you are struggling to breathe, look for the nearest hospital and check yourself in so they can treat you and find out why you are losing breath, why your oxygen is dropping. That is one. And then two, I made a video, I said, can you guys tell me where is your chest, your heart is? Many people think that their heart is on the right-hand side here or in the middle. No, your heart is on the left-hand side here. And that is why anytime you say to a doctor you are having a chest pain, they want to know where you are having a chest pain. That's the next question they are going to. Your heart is not on the right-hand side. Your heart is not in the middle. Your heart is on the left of your chest. And if you go to a hospital and you tell a doctor you're having a chest pain and they say which side, you say left, they will treat you urgently than the person having a chest pain on the right. They will leave everybody that is having minor chest pain and take you in immediately to see why you are having a chest pain on the left. That is where your heart is. Now, if you're having a chest pain on your left-hand side of the chest and you have not seen the doctor since, then Olubimi, you are playing with your life. And again, you are having shortness of breath. Remember, oxygen is transported from the bloodstream to your brain. And if oxygen is not reaching your brain, you are getting into shock. That is when your organs start shutting down. And by the time you know it, you see some people just slump and die, slump and collapse. And you say, oh, what happened to them? Because they be ignoring certain symptoms. Instead of them to rush themselves to the hospital, they start self-medication. You cannot self-medicate when you are having a chest pain on the left-hand side of your chest. You must go and see a doctor to find out where your heart, this is where your heart is. And you are having a chest pain, that is when you have to go and leave whatever you are doing to go and see a doctor to check it out. So you cannot self-medicate when you are having a chest pain on your left-hand side. Well, fast in Britain, if you look at a video, I'm sharing a screen on the video. Olubimi, I'm sharing a screen on the video. Okay. I'm sharing a screen on the video, Olubimi. If you are having fast breathing, look at the symptoms of low blood sugar. Okay. If you look at the screen, if you can see the screen from your phone or from your computer, you see I'm sharing a screen there. It says low blood glucose. This is the signs and symptoms of when your blood sugar is low. So when your blood sugar is low, one of the symptoms is fast breathing. Olubimi, when your sugar level is low, Lorraine, you are welcome. So when your blood sugar is low, one of the symptoms is fast breathing. Okay, these are the symptoms of low blood sugar I'm sharing with you on the screen. So since you are having fast breathing, it means your sugar is low. You have to check your sugar level to know. Anytime you are having these symptoms, you are breathing fast, then know your sugar level is low. Check your sugar level, and then you have to bring up your sugar level up. You find something that contains sugar. That is when you can drink Coke or drink Fanta just to bring your sugar level up. Okay, so from the screen, I'm sharing something on the screen, the symptoms of low blood sugar. So that is it there. Okay. Okay. So did I answer your question, Olubimi? Have I answered your question? Uh, Watching from Kenya, Lauren, you're welcome. Okay. Any other question? I'm waiting for any other question. So uh, let me go back again. So today, once more again, I'm going to share this. Today is I discuss about um, so today I discuss about what is diabetes coma. That is what I discussed today, and I've given you guys the definition, what you understand about what is diabetes coma. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back once more again, and then for those that join me now, I just want to refresh your memory. I discussed about what is diabetes coma. Okay, in my screen there, the screen that I'm sharing there, that is what is called diabetes coma. If you can read it properly, that is what is called diabetes coma. If you can read it properly there, that is what is called diabetes coma. Diabetes coma is related, is a life-threatening emergency that can affect your life if you have diabetes. In a diabetes related coma, you are unconscious and unable to respond to your environment. You are either suffering from high blood glucose, hypoglycemia, or low blood glucose, which is you need immediate medical attention if you go into diabetes coma. So that is what I was discussing. I've discussed about it today for the past 2 hours, almost 2 hours now. We discussed about the symptoms and causes, how to diagnose and test it, managing it, treating it, and the prevention. So for those that join me now, will have to wait. When I download the video, they can watch it. But that is what I discussed today. And in summary, if you are a diabetic, okay, if you are a diabetic or you are just a caregiver, you have somebody that is diabetic in your family, either your husband, your wife, or any of your children or your parents, every sickness, it's like when you hear somebody goes into coma. When you hear somebody goes into coma, okay, okay, people can be in coma for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. Some make it out of the coma, some die, go pass on through it. So there's something we call diabetics coma. You can go into coma, and it's a life-threatening emergency if you're a diabetic. So what am I trying to? I'm trying to explain it in a way that you guys can understand it. You might not be diabetic. Maybe you are a caregiver. Either your child or your son or your husband or your wife or any of your father or your mother, your uncle lives with you and they are diabetic. You are taking care of them. One fact is that you know that they are diabetics. And then they can go into coma. They can go into coma. And that is why I've said it several times. If Diabetics is like a community. Diabetics have a language. It has the basis. And once you know what to do and what to do on each occasion, you can live a normal life. You're going to live. You are not even going to worry about, because you know what to do at each point in time. That is what we call the management of diabetics. When I see people come to me and when I look at them and I just shake my head, because I'll keep explaining to them, give them, when you tell them this is what to do, this is what not to do, they find it very difficult. But at a point in time, they get it. Now, if you are taking care of somebody but already you know that they are diabetic and they go into coma, look at the definition of diabetic related coma so that you understand, so that you watch out and know what to do. It is a life-threatening emergency for somebody that is diabetic. Okay? Because what happened, the person becomes unconscious and unable to respond to environment. That is, they cannot recognize where they are. They are unconscious. Now imagine that you are a caregiver, your father or your mother or your child, your son, your husband or your wife, all of a sudden slump and become unconscious and cannot recognize the environment. Don't go into panic. If you can read it properly, don't go into, but that solves half of your problem, because you know, okay, he's into coma. Why is he into coma? Is because two reasons why he's into coma is his blood sugar is very, very high. When I say high, it's not about 8%, 8 or 9. It's about 600, 700 milligrams per deciliter. It is uncontrolled sugar level. The sugar level is so high that it went out of proportion. Or the sugar level is very, very low, below 250 milligrams per deciliter. So when they go into coma and you know, okay, the sugar level has risen too bad or the sugar level has gone down too low, they are weak. They are in between life and death. What you need is immediately rush them to the nearest hospital. There is no delay. Nothing like, let me try this at home. No. Any delay, each minute you spend there trying to figure out what to do is each minute you are getting them closer to their grave. Each minute you stand there to find out they are going closer to their grave. As soon as this thing happens, get your car ready, straight to the nearest medical facility for an immediate attention, because they are into coma. And I'm going to tell you, if you delay, once the person goes into coma and they're unconscious and they are not responding to the environment, there are two things that is going to happen. If you delay for any minute, you leave the person there. So if it is your father, your mother, your child, your son, your husband, you don't want to lose any of your child. You don't want to lose your wife. You don't want to lose your husband. You don't even want to lose any of your parents. So why do you have to delay? Already you know they have gone into coma. The nearest thing to do was to rush them straight to the nearest hospital for an immediate attention. And any delay, this is what is going to happen for any delay. If you watch on the screen there, this is the complication for any delay for somebody that has diabetic coma. Complication of diabetic-related coma include but not limited to permanent brain damage and sudden death. For any delay, the person is lying down there, their brain is getting damaged. When I say permanently, and once the brain is damaged completely, the next thing is death. And that is why you have to rush them to the nearest hospital. Once they call it diabetes related coma. Okay, so once you're a caregiver and something happened, don't panic. Now that you know what it is, so eventually if something happened in your family, you know what to do is to rush them to the nearest hospital, and then they will take care of it. And there's a treatment for it. The treatment is very simple. The treatment to get them back to life is very simple, but you must get them to the nearest hospital. You cannot do it at home. The treatment to bring them back to life is very, very simple, but you must rush them into hospital. You cannot do it at home. Okay? So that's why you have to be very, very careful on to notice when somebody is in diabetes coma. Okay? So any other questions? I need questions for if there's any question, feel free to ask me the question now. Um, I'm going to post a link. I'm going to post a link. If anybody wants to come on, come on the video, click on that link. Click on that link, and then you can join me on the video and ask your question. Okay, I'm going to post a link now. If you want to, you just click on the link, and then I'll invite you into the room, and then we can now talk. Um, I'm going to post a link. Anybody wants to come into the room? Come into the room. Just click on that link, and then I will accept you into the room, and then we can talk, or you can ask your question. So I'm going to post a link now. I'm going to post a link now on the page. I'm going to post a link now on the page, on my page, so that anybody wants to come into the room and ask me their questions, you are welcome. I'm going to post. I'm going to post a link on my page. Olubimi ask question. Olubimi ask a question. I post. I'm going to answer your question. Um, okay. For those that wants to join, if you want to join the room, you can. I posted a link on my page. You just click on that link if you want to join the room and the discussion here, and I'll accept you, or I'll accept you. Now, let me go to Olubime asks question: how often can a diabetic test be carried out? Um, Diabetic test, Olubime, I'm answering your question. Um, Olubime asks question says, how often can diabetes test be carried out? Okay, that if you are diabetic, you do your test every three months. Every 3 months is when you're supposed to be doing your test. Your A1C test, okay, your A1C test is due every three months. Okay, that is how we monitor your glucose level, your treatment, if you're responding to treatment. Average of 1 to 3 months. Apart from the regular test you are doing every day, that is the one you do at home to check your sugar levels. But your doctors will send you every 3 months to take your check your sugar levels, your A1C test. That is how the average of 1 to 3 months. That is how they see how you are responding to your treatment. If the medication they are giving you is working or it's not working, so they'll send you for A1C test, check your glucose level, fasting, okay, and check your and I advise you guys also check your kidney, check your liver, check all your kidney, liver, all those things. Make a urine test, okay, do your CBC test, your complete blood count test. So it's every 3 months. That is how your test is being conducted until such a time that your diabetes is controlled. If your diabetes is controlled for a period of 1 to 2 years constantly without any elevation in your sugar level, then doctors might not try to reduce your medications or stop some medications or change your medications. Okay, so it's every 3 months. You're supposed to be doing your test every 3 months. It is compulsory, not you do 3 months today, the next 3 months you don't go. You must be doing your sugar level every 3 months to make sure you check your liver, check your kidney, do your A1C test and your blood work. So it is every 3 months, between 1 and 3 months. It is that is when you do that is how often you have to do your test. So Olubimi, I hope I've answered your question. I hope you have answered your question. Okay, are we there? Do we have any other question? Do we have any other question? All right. I'm going to leave you guys now. And then I hope I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for another live program. I'm going to see you guys for another live program tomorrow, Sunday, July the 16th. Okay. So it's been a wonderful day today, chatting with you guys and then answering your questions. Keep sending in your questions, keep sending in your comments. I read all the comments you guys are sending me, and I do appreciate them. All the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. All the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. I have a lot of thumbs up from Junior, Majeko, Bimbai, Tawire, Beverly, Umba, Bimbai, Beverly, Augustine. I see all the thumbs up you guys are sending me. Amon, Makecho, Cynthia, Desmond, Maketlo, uh, quite a number of them, a lot of thumbs up. I do appreciate it. All the thumbs up, Maritas, Omimi, I do appreciate all the thumbs up you guys are sending and see your comment, Priscilla, Omi, Esther, Mangola, Sandra, Yika, Shia Lee, Esther, Magola. So all these are, Chris, Elma, Barry, Naomi, I do see all the thumbs up. Okay, keep sending them, keep sending them. All right, and keep sending your questions. And I hope this video has made a difference in your life. Okay, and I believe we'll have more to do in the future. So in the meantime, I'm going to leave you guys to enjoy your weekend, and then I'm going to see you guys tomorrow morning. Tomorrow 8:30 New York time. I'm going to be here for another live program on Sunday, July the 16th. Okay, so uh, you guys should enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening with your family, and we're going to meet again on Sunday to discuss once more issues related with diabetes. So, at the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye.